absolute cinema. Storyline be damned, the one thing that always hits with this franchise is the promotional material. You know those teasers, those trailers, that instant paycheck for reaction mashup channels? I feel like Scott doesn't get enough credit for his work on the promotional side of the game, because from the clever teasers that are up there with ad campaigns and the hype as hell trailers, this man needs to get his flowers. The FNAF 1 trailer, yeah, it wasn't anything special. The most to come out of it was the lost media incident. This gives off vibes of made in a cave with a box of scraps. And that's not to say the trailer is bad by any metric, it's just the effort put into this compared to the effort put into the FNAF 2 trailer, it's night and day. You gotta understand, there wasn't much of an incentive to make this piece of promotional material a banger. It's more of like, hey, yeah, this is the game, compared to, holy shit, this is the game. Although it is an interesting peek into the beta version of the game, because when was Bonnie doing any of this? It seems like in Scott's mind, Bonnie had a more active role than he actually does in practice. The fact that Bonnie creeped him out the most during the game's development is a developer fact as well known in this community as not creating creepers because he messed up the code of pigs. Look, it's a decent trailer and it gets the point across, but in terms of farming hype, not so much. Yeah, and I know I was gonna spend this video glazing the FNAF trailers, but we're off to a bad start here. Oh my goodness! Falling down, falling. Yo, is that Bonnie? The FNAF 2 trailer is a masterclass. Even if you think FNAF 2 sucked ass, the switch up on that is crazy, by the way. The trailer was a perfect representation of capturing momentum. Unlike me dropping 3 bangers in a row then hitting the fall off that rival 2024 Apex Legends, Scott saw the hyped. He saw the scariest game in years. He saw MatPat making the lore for him, and he hit the.
Then check this out.
Wait. It didn't start with the trailer. There was a trail of breadcrumbs that led to the trailer. And I'm not Monoxa. You can just go watch this video on FNAF teasers and have a more enjoyable experience than you'll have here. But I just want to say,
someone cooked here.
with each of the teasers, he told a story. Wow, new Freddy design. Best Freddy design in the series, by the way. Grand reopening. Freddy's supposed to bounce back and got his bread up. Let's go. But if you look closely, he looks a little bit chopped. Or maybe you could say withered. The next few teasers started to tell the story of what was really going on. This is a grand reopening and our cast of lovable characters are being replaced. It was like 2024 Disney. They put a chicken in it and made her lame. I know Toy Bonnie's a boy, by the way, but people back then thought, you know, eyelashes, eyeshadow. You know, I'm getting into the role here. The last 2 teasers were actual glimpses of the gameplay, and if people thought they knew what was going on then, they were thrown for a loop now, because what possibly could this mean to a person from 2014 that only knows, look at cameras, closed door? But all would be answered when he dropped peak. Scott was in his bag and he had good timing. The internet was set ablaze with FNAF content and Scott couldn't have dropped this trailer at a better time. It was an event. Look! Whoa! I love the way he begins the trailer adjusting the characters from the previous games. The story was telling him the teasers was now being clarified and he does it in just a few words. The cinematography is no Vince Gilligan, but the shots of our goats out of order really sets the scene. The beginning is all about callbacks, reeling you in with what you know before blowing you away with something new. We start with Bonnie, then we go to Phone Guy with one of the most iconic lines in FNAF trailer history.
Hello. Well, if you're hearing this, then chances are you've made a very poor career choice.
Completing the roll call, we get the rest of the animatronics, decommissioned and out of the job compared to the latest animatronic on the block. From this point on, it's all business. Like a C-tier FNAF YouTuber that gets millions of views talking over gameplay, I can't stop winning. The trailer transitions to showing you just gameplay. Take notes, gaming industry, because the cinematics are cool and all, but what we want to see is actual gameplay. And I feel like that's the biggest strength of this trailer, because not only do we have the cool ass intro that sets the stage, we get to see the game. Scott went through gameplay picking out the best shots to use for the trailer, just enough to get you interested to buy the game on day one. And while he showed almost every mechanic in the game, he didn't explain shit. How is there no doors? Is there a stuffing death animation? And more importantly, why haven't you subscribed to MKG yet? The theory community was eating. It was generally a fun pastime trying to predict and theorize what the game was going to be before it dropped. Like when people generally thought the main bad guy for FNAF 3 was going to be a combination of all the animatronics. We were a little too early on that one. You know, Scott's teasers always reminded me of those clever magazine ads, like the video game ones, you know, back when they had aura. They were vague yet bold. It left you with one cool visual and a lot of questions. And low-key, you wanted to know more. It seems like ads back then were more like statements than advertisements, and I get that same vibe from Scott's work. He just knows how to make a teaser. What can I say? But we're here to talk about the trailer. Right off the bat, the trailer mirrors FNAF 2. It's like the same shot, but instead of scrolling to the right, it's to the left. We even get another parallel with a dark shot of the main gang, but instead of being withered, it's them from the first game. And Pete Bonnie looking at the camera, he must know he's not going to be in this game. The withered Bonnie against the wall moment is paralleled with Springtrap, who's just tweaking out because he's probably mad that he actually has to join the Dead by Daylight roster.
No! I want to live! I want to live!
Yeah, I'd be mad too, bro.
What do we want?
Springtrap in Dead by Daylight!
What do we not want?
To play Dead by Daylight! Oh, you may be wondering why I cut to black. Well, you saw the trailer. That was it. Unlike FNAF 2, there was no gameplay section, which I feel like was going to be hard to do when FNAF 3 gameplay is as interesting as a GT Live without MatPat. Yeah, it's really short and it's nowhere near the hype level that 2 had, but allow me to play devil's advocate. It matches the intensity of the actual game. All that grand scale of FNAF 2 is gone because this is 30 years later. This is the remnants of what's left, and it ain't much. So having a trailer that's almost mediocre gotta fit. Fazbear Frights in itself is a mediocre representation of the actual brand, specifically the horror stories. I don't know if Scott was being clever or maybe I'm just reaching, but this trailer could be in-universe. A Fazbear Fright employee could have filmed this themselves for promo, and the reason it's so subpar because the company that made it has a budget of 2 Funko Pops and a Game Theory hoodie. Or maybe it's just because FNAF 3 is the last game and Scott didn't really feel like putting much effort into it. That would explain a lot of things, actually. Yep. It's the end of the franchise. It's quiet. You know, this is the last place you'd expect to see Fred Boy and his roaming band of wild critters. Usually there's some score behind this, but no, it's just the melodramatic ambience of FNAF 4. The watcher is left in the moment, waiting in pure, agonizing silence. This is the end of the hype era, and is that Bonnie? This trailer insists upon itself, if you will. FNAF 3 and 4 seem more like teasers than actual trailers. The scope was dialed back, and with FNAF 4 that was even more the case because there is not a single cinematic in this one. This is all gameplay, which is good. You know what you're getting into. And I'm not gonna cut Scott all the slack because I feel like this one was kind of phoned in, even down to the title reveal. Like from a graphic design standpoint, what was he trying to do here? It's clear this trailer is trying to speak for itself. There's no crazy moments, no scenes that will make you cream your pants in surprise. It's just, hey, this is the game. That creative spark he had in the second entry is clearly gone in this one, but I low-key feel it makes sense for a game like this. The point of the FNAF 4 trailer was to show that this entry was going to be entirely different than the others, and the less the trailer explained, the better. It's a blink and you'll miss it. You actually see all of the gameplay mechanics in this one. It shows the set pieces, it shows the enemies, but only for a second or two, before stimulating the watcher's mind with something entirely new. And that's it. The score isn't crazy, there's no cinematics to gush over, it's just FNAF 4. That's it. It really just feels like a teaser trailer for the game rather than the actual trailer. And what's odd is almost the entirety of the game was shown in this, so there wouldn't be much more content to show off if there was another trailer down the line. Scott really set a high bar with FNAF 2, and he did not reach it with 3 or 4. Not my favorite by any stretch of the imagination, but the teasers for this one might have been Scott's best work, because unlike the other teasers, these read more like an ad campaign, an engagement advertisement that beckoned the question of who did it. And man, what I said about Scott's teasers being reminiscent of old school magazine ads is strong here. After a few logos and some legal text, and this could be a direct rip from one of those retro gamer magazines. Now, FNAF World had a crazy promotional run. Like, what is this supposed to mean? The thank you picture slowly turned them all into marketable versions of the cast, showing that this entry was going to be a spin-off, but that wasn't the most iconic of the teasers. Like, seriously, what does this mean? Now, the content of the actual trailer was a mixed bag, because we start with an ominous cinematic of the main four's empty mask, creeping closer into their lifeless eyes. It's a good hook, might I say top 3? It puts you in the mood for another scary entry in the series, and this entry was not too dissimilar to the FNAF 3 true ending. But this has nothing to do with FNAF 3. This is worse. Oh my god, the game's bad! I feel like this trailer could have worked if FNAF World didn't look the way it did. I like how the video quality of the trailer drops anytime any actual combat is happening. And I say actual combat in quotation marks, because calling this an RPG would kind of be a disservice to the genre. You know how FNAF games are just PNGs and GIFs sliding across the screen that give the illusion of a 3D space? Yeah, you can tell with this entry, but you want to know what? I still think FNAF World is a genuinely fun game. I'd even say top 5 in the series, but no one is really ready for that conversation. What would make this game top 3 is just a simple visual facelift. I've said it, Scott said it, everyone said it. It's genuinely a fun game. It's just an execution. Let's just say, falls short. So when we cut to the joke of the trailer, which is FNAF World is a cutesy style RPG juxtaposing the washed out, eerie, and derelict world of the main titles, the only joke is the way the game looks. It's unfortunate to say it, but this disappointment carries on to the trailer because this one is the most forgettable out of the bunch. Like I stated before, this is the end of the hype era for trailers. If it wasn't posted on Scott's channel, it wasn't hype. But you wanna know what was posted on his channel? Location be damned, that trailer was fire. I find Scott does a really good job at presenting ideas in the tape, because I've been of the opinion that supernatural FNAF is superior to sci-fi FNAF, which is a sentiment you'll find more people to agree with than the amount of characters in this franchise. Despite my personal grievances with the direction of the series, I have to admit, Sister Location at least made the idea of sci-fi FNAF interesting. Maybe it's because it's the first exposure and people back then weren't really thinking, I hear my franchise, but I'm not seeing my franchise. It was more like a, I wonder what Scott has in store this time. No, it gets a pass because everything outside the actual game made it seem like this entry in the FNAF cinematic universe was going to be another hit, which was really needed during the FNAF flop era because FNAF 3 was truly the downfall of the community, and when FNAF 4 rolled around, people were waving the white flag. The SFMs weren't flowing in anymore, Rebornica was long gone, and I Got No Time is notoriously the one living Tombstone FNAF song that was about him being tired of the franchise. The internet was moving to a new obsession, Undertale. And if the game lived up to the teasers and the trailer, then yeah, it would have been a hit, but unfortunately, Sister Location is single-handedly the catalyst for the nosedive the FNAF lore took in terms of its original identity. All the problems FNAF boomers cry about on Twitter can honestly be traced back to the release of this game. But let's focus on its strength, which don't actually come from the game unfortunately, but Sister Location is probably the best FNAF trailer. It had the mystery of the FNAF 4 trailer, the cinematography and gameplay of FNAF 2, and a showtime sequence better than the FNAF 1 trailer. The OST this time around felt more like a score than just some music Scott slapped over it. It was haunting, it played alongside the visuals, creating an eerie yet mysterious mystique. Everything about this trailer was so well crafted. Too bad the game sucks. And I don't know how many times I have to say it, but put a few logos on it, slap it in a retro video game magazine because these are freaking perfect. There's a lot of love and care put into this game. This was a different format for FNAF games, and despite it being downright forgettable, you know, for reasons, but I have to admit, that was kind of cookie. What can I say? The look down memory lane, coupled with each aspect of horror each title was supposed to invoke, was also a way to pay homage to all the games that came before Sister Location. It's like, we showed you this, we showed you that. Now get ready for something the series has never seen before. And the renders are so clean. I think the Sister Location animatronics are over-designed, but I have to admit in this trailer, they are shown off well. It's the exact same setup as the FNAF 2 roll call, but in a different context. It's like an unveiling. Then there's cuts to the gameplay, absent of all context, while Don't Hold It Against Us is being chanted like some sort of cult. Then it ends on Scott's best showtime sequence yet, with Baby and her circus performing in a dark room while it slowly zooms in on the head honcho of the group. Each character is slowly highlighted one by one till we get to Baby, and like the rest of her crew, she seems conscious. And then he made up for FNAF 4 by making a title reveal that actually looks good. Best trailer, come up and get your award, you've earned it. I know this whole video is rose-tinted glasses, but I make FNAF nostalgia videos, so what do you want me to do? Branch out? Do more fun content? I got news for you, buddy. Anyways, if you enjoyed, please subscribe, please subscribe!